Hello mọi người, chào mừng mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của Tũn nha. Kênh của mình thì mình sẽ làm chuyên về các game nhiều thể loại, đa phần là các game về giải đố, về xây dựng, về mô phỏng. Thì hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục với con game Sherlock Holmes, Crime and Punishment, à, cái vụ án thứ tư. Nếu các bạn muốn xem thêm nhiều video từ kênh của mình thì các bạn có thể nhấn đăng ký, subscribe, like cái video này và chọn nút chuông thông báo để nhận được thông báo khi mình ra video mới nha. Bạn cũng có thể donate qua các cổng donate mà mình để dưới góc bên trái của màn hình đấy. Rồi, thôi bây giờ mình bắt đầu qua cái vụ án thứ tư của series này thôi. Mình sẽ series Sherlock Holmes này thì mình sẽ làm 4 game. Khởi đầu là game Crime and Punishment. Tiếp theo đó là The Daughter, the Devil Daughter, tức là cô gái của quỷ. Thứ ba là Chapter 1. Và cuối cùng là phần mới nhất vừa ra là Awakening. Thì ở phần 1 này thì do game cũng đã lâu rồi đó. Game này là phát hành vào năm 2014 nên bản Việt hóa của nó thì mình thì không thấy, nên không có, các bạn nên chỉ có theo dõi. Mình sẽ cố gắng dịch được theo cái khả năng của mình. Còn qua bắt đầu từ game sau là The Devil Daughter thì đã có bản Việt hóa rồi, thì mọi người mình sẽ dễ dàng theo dõi hơn. Ok mọi người, giờ mình bắt đầu thôi.
The game is afoot, not a word. Into your clothes and come. I'll wait for you in the sitting room. I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified. I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
Yes, they all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
Thôi, có cái gì đâu mà xem hoài.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Có một bức thư cho mình. Hơi nhiều thư này. Cái bức này là về cái vụ án trước.
This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can
bức thư cho
always
các bạn.
consult with it.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look. The letter is...
Bức thư đâu? Bàn làm việc của trong phòng mà.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Bàn này. Đây bức thư. Đây. Có đóng cái ấn này luôn à. 221B Baker Street, London.
A wax
Sherlock Holmes.
seal with the monogram E.B. I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
Huy hiệu của gia tộc. Kính gửi ngày hôm. Chúng tôi thì rất là sẵn lòng với sự hỗ trợ của ngài. Trong cái lời hứa đã được nhắc đến. Nói chung là cái thư của Lestrack. Đây là một cái bức thư từ phía Lestrack.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always,
Về một lời
it
hứa.
appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the EB monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Mình sẽ đến cái khu Abbey Grange này để tra một vụ án giết người mà Lestrack đã viết một bức thư gửi cho mình. Thì cái vụ án này khả năng là xảy ra vào ban đêm. Thì hồi nãy Sherlock Holmes có bảo là tầm khoảng tại sao ta biết là tại vì Lestrack viết cái bức thư này là khoảng gửi bức thư này là khoảng tầm đâu đó 12 giờ rưỡi thì gửi cho anh ta, nên Sherlock Holmes đoán là vụ án này xảy ra vào nửa đêm. Đây, Lestrack đây.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid to raise a right.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Lady...
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
Vừa mới kết hôn
I am
một
sorry
năm
for
về
your
trước.
loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
Nó bị đánh nè. À không, cái này là bị lem, bị cái lớp trang điểm bị lem, nhưng mà này bà khóc hay sao ấy. Con này mà cô còn trẻ.
Can
Thì
you
xảy ra
describe
đêm
to me
qua.
the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30.
Anh Thành
I
nghỉ
sat
vào
in
lúc
this room until after
10 giờ
11,
rưỡi tối.
absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... Oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Bà này nói là hôm qua có 3 người đàn ông vào thực hiện cái hành vi sát nhân đó và đánh bà ta bất tỉnh.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the
Bị
time,
chồng đánh,
out of
bạo
control.
hành.
Again,
Ông này ông say xỉn thì cái tính
Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be
Coi như là
tied to such a man for
thô lỗ
life
cọc
is
cằn mà hay
worse
bạo
than
hành đấy.
death.
Your ladyship?
Nói chuyện với cái bà này trước.
Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir. As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw three men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate.
Thấy 3 người
But I thought nothing of
dưới
it
ánh
at the
trăng.
time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed.
Như vợ
That's all I know.
kẻ đến. À, cái gì đây? Tờ báo.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article. These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe.
Ép
There
con
may
hả?
be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it. This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? This photo... This photo... This pho...
Bàn này còn có gì hết ta?
So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
Ra ngoài này mở cái két.
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship? Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
Cái này sao nghe ta? Mình không có căn cứ gì hết mà nghe con đó. Khó nghe dữ vậy ta? Ồ. Khó nghe lắm luôn á mọi người. Đây rồi. Cuối cùng cũng mở được.
Antique coins, possibly of value. but they're scattered
xương
without
cổ à.
care. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
A fur trader's cabin. It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured.
Tức là chai rượu này nó hơi rất trực tiếp, còn cái ly luôn không có qua cái bình decanter.
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear. Chateau Calon Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru. Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to.
Ghế này là cái ghế mà các bà kia bị cột vào đây.
The hunting scene. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen.
Cái nến này là có giá trị nhưng mà bất ngờ là tụi trộm nó không trộm.
An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France.
Rượu này toàn là rượu đắt tiền từ Pháp. Còn cái gì nữa hả?
A bottle of wine is missing here. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
Cướp đi một số ít nữ trang à. Hơi kỳ ha.
A deer hunt. So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow.
Đến khá là mạnh. Cái cây này,
That must be the murder weapon.
cái cây gậy
Quite a large stick,
trên bàn
a
một tên.
formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed
Ta đi
and did not have
anh này,
time to
anh đi
fully
trên phong.
dress. It is covered in blood, so Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
The death was instant.
Giờ mình phải về về nhà trước, kiểm tra một số thứ đã. Về nhà kiểm tra một số thứ.
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut.
Cắt rất là vết cắt khá là
Let's
ngọt.
try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope. The fibers from this cut appear to be different.
Không, bởi vì cắt với một cái gì đó nó khá là sắc nhọn cơ.
The
Cũng không được.
fibers from this cut appear to be different.
Đây là một
If I
con
cut
dao.
the rope with a knife, it matches the original.
Có những cái dữ liệu, khá là nhiều dữ liệu nha. Một dữ liệu này, 3 người là hay là 2 người, 3 người đi, mình cứ cho nên cái giả thiết là 3 người vậy. Đây là một cái ý kiến, đây là một vụ tai nạn, ông ta bị trượt chân té đập đầu. Bị cắt với một cái con dao sắt, được thắt và khi bà sẽ bị trói bởi một cái gọi là một cái nút gọi là nút thuyền chài đấy. Nút đó là khá là cứng. Cái nút đó là thường là khi mà thuyền mà cập bến ấy, là các thủy thủ sẽ lấy cọng dây quấn lại để cột rồi để neo thuyền lại. Cái nút đó là rất là khó bị xúc, tại vì bạn giống như là cái lực kéo của thuyền càng mạnh á, thì cái nút đó nó sẽ càng siết mạnh hơn, siết chặt hơn. Hay gì một là cái nhóm Randall này bị đổ tội, hoặc là cái nhóm này nữa là cái nhóm thực hiện cái vụ này. Gọi Toby vậy.
Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case. I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to...
Mình chạy theo tôi cho cưng của mình.
Search, Toby. The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware. Brave Toby, the best nose in the British Empire. The scent leads to the well. I should check it. The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route.
Cái con đường thường là lạ ha. Nếu mà đã trộm xong thì thường mình phải đi thẳng một mạch, chứ tại sao đi một cái đường khá là lòng vòng.
Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved. Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest. This hook might be useful. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it?
Trang sức ở trong đây.
Silverware. This is hardly
Ngoài trang sức. Mấy cái đồ dùng.
The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that
Cái
we
đồ
have
dùng,
found the
đồ
stolen
dùng
silverware.
Mới này nó lạ nha. Lạ đó. Mọi chuyện dẫn đến nhóm này. Nếu mà bị đổ lỗi thì sao ta? Kiểu là ai nghĩ có cái nhóm này đây xong mượn danh của cái nhóm này để mà đổ lỗi cho cái chuyện.
There are three glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his two sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent
Đây là
man.
một
A
khá là
detestable
bạo lực.
human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to
Là
stand
ném
up
một cái
there in defense
decanter
of
vào
my
tôi.
mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead. But a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed. What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments, he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day, he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about.
Please leave me.
Oh, what a horrible thing.
Lord Brigham Brackenstall. Sir Warthen Brackenstall. Lord Ramsay Brackenstall. This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. A deer hunt. A fur trader's cabin. A hunter scene. A hunter scene. Antique hunting weapons. A hunting scene. A hunter's cabin. A trapper's hut. A trapper's hut.
Nên phải về nhà đó. Sao có lít vừa đi hoài gì? Tiếng chó mà.
Brave Toby.
What?
Tìm kiếm nè. 893 đúng không?
My search must be focused upon the ship's name.
Đây rồi. À, con tàu Rock of Gibraltar trở về hả?
Here it is. The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
Quyết Kiên điều tra thôi.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893 and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really
Điều tra
think they'll
những
find
vị
it,
thú
Holmes?
đoàn của nước
My
Tàu.
secret police is better than the Yard in many
Khả
ways.
năng là tình nhân của cái bà kia.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor.
Đúng.
And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to... This officer is still at sea, therefore... This officer is still at sea. I do not think that this sailor... I do not think that... I do not think... I do not... I do not think... This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime.
Cái này không
I do
có
not
thời gian.
think that this
Không
sailor
có thời,
has
luôn
any
thời gian xảy ra
connection
vụ
to
án.
the case. I do not think that... I do not think... I do not think... I do not... This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago.
À,
I do not think...
học hai hàng này thôi. Thomas Walker. Herbert Westington.
I do not... This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
James Crocker.
Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him. Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Không phải câu chuyện của vụ án thứ tư này khá là nhanh.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
Công việc khá là thật thật. Mật báo. có con dao.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... and what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you died.
Ông này là ông này là hung thủ á. Nên ông này là hung thủ không? Mình sẽ, cái này là bắt ông này nè, nhưng mà cái này là ông này thì chỉ là tự vệ khi mà hỗ trợ giúp một người phụ nữ tự vệ với cái hành vi bạo lực của ông chồng thôi. Bí mật sẽ được giải và bạn đồng ý là giữ nó như là một điều bí ẩn sẽ được giải, coi như là một cái bí mật với hai người. Không cần thiết phải báo cảnh sát. Cái nào đây ta? Cái nào sẽ là hợp lý nhỉ? bí mật cho ông này.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Ủa, ấn rồi mà.
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced.
Nghĩ cái này là cái end ok nhất rồi, chứ bắt hôm nay thì nó là không hay, không đúng với cách của mình. Thực ra là có hai cách đó.
Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
Cái này thì hơi nhanh. Ok mọi người. Cuối cùng thì mình cũng đã kết thúc vụ án thứ 4. Vụ án này thì mình giá là nó hơi ngắn và nó có phần dễ đoán hơn là hai vụ án đầu tiên, ba vụ án đầu tiên nhé. Thì ngắn dạ thì mình cũng kết thúc cái video ở đây thôi. Mình sẽ đến vụ án tiếp theo tên là The Kew Garden Drama. Đây là câu chuyện của cái tập ngày mai nhé. Tập hôm nay thì mình khá là hơi ngắn nên xin kết thúc ở đây. Rất cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi, rất cảm ơn mọi người đã ủng hộ cho kênh của mình. Mọi người có thể nhấn nút đăng ký kênh, mọi người có thể like video và mọi người có thể đóng góp ý kiến để mình hoàn thiện hơn những video clip sắp tới của mình. Có thể ủng hộ mình cách donate vào những cái kênh donate mà mình đã để ở góc trái màn hình. Và nữa, xin chào tạm biệt mọi người và hẹn gặp lại mọi người vào tối ngày mai. Bye bye.